It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Divas That Care. My name is Candace Gish. Well, I'm so excited that each and every one of you has tuned in today. We're going to have a great show today. Well, today I'm actually having a snow day, I'll be honest with you. I'm looking outside my window right now in my home office, and I'm looking at all the chickadees brazing through this amazing winter wonderland, and I just love it. I live in Alberta, Canada, and we're definitely having a little bit of a snowstorm today. So I don't know where you are, but if you are in anywhere like that, I hope you're staying nice and warm. All right, if this is your very first time tuning into the Divas That Care, you know, we've been doing this now for, 12 years now. We are listened to in over 30 countries around the world, and we're so excited. We have a list of amazing hosts, and I hope that you're able to check them out. They've had some fantastic shows lately, and you can listen to them on SoundCloud, Spotify, and you can go to our Divas That Care website and check them out too. And I know you're not going to want to miss them, especially if you've got a day like this where you're going to be staying nice and warm inside. All right, everyone. As I said, this is going to be a great show today. I'm really excited. I'm going to be introducing you to a new diva that we've been welcoming to our family here. I have not had the opportunity to interview this amazing woman, but she is absolutely extraordinary. I have gone through her bio, I've gone through her websites, and I'm just blown away with everything that she is doing. And I know that each and every one of you is going to be inspired like I have been. So welcome to the program, Alexandra Pichon. I'm so excited to have you.
Oh, sorry, Candace. I just muted myself by accident.
That is okay. I'm so excited to be getting to know you. And you know what? Honestly, I have done that more times than not.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a great honor to be part of the Divas That Care today.
Oh, my goodness. We are so honored to have you today. And I know that you're an extremely busy woman, so this is going to be a great show to have you on. Alexandra, would you mind doing a little bit of an introduction about yourself before we dive in today?
Sure. I'm a screenwriter and producer with a company called S.N.A.P Films, S.N.A.P Films, Inc. And our goal, I have a partner, actually. My partner is also a filmmaker and an award-winning director. His name is Sergio Navarrete. And we founded the company together, almost 20 years ago now. And our mission is to basically create a production hub that tells high-quality and entertaining and inspirational stories that resonate with audiences everywhere. So we want to awaken the spark of what it means to rediscover the epic journey of everyone's life. And that's our vision for projects that we do. So,
oh, my goodness.
Yeah. It's big, small goals, you know.
Yeah, just small goals. Well, and it's so inspiring because, you know, I was kind of going through some of your stuff and I'm like, oh my goodness, that is absolutely extraordinary. And I really like the premises of how you're doing things. Can I ask you how you got into screenwriting? Because that's not something that you hear a lot of.
Yeah, so I was going the academic route earlier in my life. So I did my master's degree in English literature, and I had the intention of going on to becoming a professor. So that was sort of my way of getting into the writing space. But I had always wanted to be a writer deep down, and I always was a writer, you know, kind of secretly. But after I completed my master's degree, I took a bit of a break, and I got involved with a theater group that required an English translation of a Pirandello play. And Pirandello was a Nobel Prize winning author, very important Italian playwright. So anyway, my experience of doing that just opened up a whole new world for me and made me realize this is what I want to do. This is what I want. I want this for the rest of my life. So shortly after that experience, I actually met my partner, Sergio, and we worked on a short film together that he was already, working on producing. And that I just kind of like fell in love with the whole process and never looked back. I just committed myself to writing and learning as much as I could about it. And
so cool.
And then, one film at a time, started with short films and then went into some documentary work. And then we made 3 features since. Our latest feature, The Cuban, stars Lou Gossett Jr. and Shoreg Dashlu, Lauren Hawley, and, it has a wonderful cast. And, so that's where we're at. And we're developing all kinds of new projects now.
Well, you've got lots going on. Why did you decide to write The Cuban? Like that's pretty interesting, a movie. When I went to the website, I'm like, this was a great one, and I can't wait to share it with our listeners.
Yeah, so The Cuban, that's an interesting story because I had personal experiences with people with dementia. My father had dementia before he passed. I have an aunt who had Alzheimer's, and I know that when I went to visit her in the nursing home that she was in, she mistook someone for a soldier that she knew during the war. And so she had this whole story about this person, who he was to her and everything else. And it just, these things just sort of sparked the imagination. And I know that Sergio also was very inspired by this idea, and it was just something that we had in the back of our minds for many years. And then we sort of, some of the right people came around, and the story started coming together. And also we had this fascination with Cuban jazz. So for anybody who doesn't know, The Cuban is the story of a young woman who gets her first job in a nursing home, and she meets this resident in the nursing home who's completely not communicative, who has advanced Alzheimer's and dementia, and she realizes that the only way to kind of get through to him is to play the music that he used to listen to when he was younger. So, and she discovers, she develops a friendship with him. He starts coming around, he starts talking to her, and they become, like I said, they become friends. And she realizes that he was a famous musician from Cuba back in the day. And so I guess that sort of fascination has built up over the years with little tidbits, meeting people in this situation, and, little experiences that people had. And then meeting younger people, too, who had grandparents who had Alzheimer's or dementia.
Yes.
Or who were in nursing homes. Yeah, it's extreme. It's so common. It's like an epidemic in our society. So we... So over time, the story just started coming together, and we had the good fortune of being able to cast Lou Gossett Jr. as the Cuban. So the film came together nicely, too. It came together very quickly because of that. And it felt like the timing was really right for it, too, because I think that we just went through a period with the pandemic, as many people know, where, ones were in nursing homes and kind of sad situations, difficult situations there too. So I think it's spoke to a lot. Yeah. Well, but it's ultimately it's an uplifting story.
Oh, exactly. And how can our listeners watch this?
So, we've got a website, thecubanmovie.com, and then all of the links to all the different places you can watch it are there, right on the website. So it's on Amazon as well, or I believe it's on Amazon and Apple, Rogers. So there are a number of different places you can see. I think it's been on TV a few times recently, too.
Oh, my goodness. Great. Well, congratulations on it. And I know that it's won some awards, and it's done really well. And we're really excited because when I saw this, I knew that it was something that I wanted to watch, once I was kind of going through everything. And I thought, this is an amazing film that I think we really need to share with our tribe out there, because I know that a lot of them are very similar to who I am, and they we obviously, we're a tribe for a reason, right? And I really wanted to be able to share this with everybody out there, and it's really nice because it's being online anywhere in the world, you can definitely watch this. Yes.
That's the wonderful thing about the world we live in right now. Everything, you can access everything. Yeah.
Well, and you've done not just this amazing new movie of yours, but you have other films that you are out there. And I wanted to kind of just mention them quickly because I really feel that all of your films are something that our listeners would like. So would you mind just kind of sharing about the other ones also?
Sure. So our first film was a movie called Looking for Angelina, which told the story. It was a true story about an Italian immigrant woman named Angelina Napolitano who murdered her abusive husband on Easter Sunday while he was sleeping. And then her case became like the OJ trial of 1911. It completely exploded. And she was sentenced to hang, but the pressure that was put on the government was, so intense. They received, we counted millions of petitions, really, that, had her. So they put the pressure on the government to have her sentence commuted to a life imprisonment. And it was really a story about, what immigrants went through, the early immigrants went through in our country, and also the justice system and the biases in the justice system. And also it was a story that is from our history books that was never told. And I always find that really fascinating. I'm actually working on another project now that is another story from our history books, but it's never been told fully. So I'm really interested in these stories.
And Alexandra, I just want to say that for all of our listeners, this is a Canadian history story, which we don't see a lot of out there. We see a lot of American ones. We see a lot of European history things. And I'm very drawn to Canadian history because obviously I'm a Canadian, and I find it because we don't learn a lot about our own past, our own history here in Canada, that when I see stuff like this, I automatically am drawn to it and I want to watch it. And that's why I just kind of want to let people know, come and check this out. Come and check out what the Canadians, people that have come to Canada, have gone through.
Yeah, and I don't think our stories have been very well told.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah. I think there's a lot there to be mined. I don't know what the history classes are like nowadays, but I just remember going to history classes and in high school and, kind of hearing the same history repeated year after year after year. And there's so much more going on. It's just unbelievable. So, and it's up to people like us, the writers and the filmmakers and, to sort of dig up these interesting things that people don't know about. So I have a personal sort of fascination with that.
Well, then
especially the women.
Wait to watch all of your movies.
Thank you. That's right. Yeah, we made another movie called The Colossal Failure of the Modern Relationship that is probably pretty easy to find online still. It's in distribution internationally. So that one stars Enrico Colantoni, and that's more of a comical film about a group of friends that go to wine country, and there's a couple and there's some infidelity going on in the couple situation, and they kind of have to work things out, but it's all sort of done in more of a comical lighthearted context. And
for any of our listeners, I'm sorry, I was going to say, for any of our listeners, isn't he the gentleman from Veronica Mars?
Yes, that's right. Yep. He was the dad.
He was the dad of Veronica Mars. I remember watching that show a long time ago. So not, people might not remember his name, but I thought, we've got to put that little tidbit in there too.
Yeah, he's a wonderful actor. Just a great guy as well. So yeah, he's lovely to watch him.
You've had lots of amazing actors into your films, and so it makes it probably a lot of fun to be able to work with these amazing people.
I honestly, I feel blessed being able to work with a lot of the people I've been able to work with. We've worked with incredibly talented Canadian artists and, people from all over. But I think the day that I met Lou Gossett Jr. on set, I became extremely aware of the fact that we were working with one of the greats. Wow. He's just amazing.
I can't imagine.
Sheree,
oh my goodness,
also quite incredible. She's a Academy-nominated actress as well, and she's just phenomenal. Yeah, she's in The Expanse for anyone who doesn't know, but I think a lot of people follow that show.
And that's great. And I know, and you had mentioned before when you first did the introduction that you've done a whole bunch of documentaries. What type of documentaries did you do also?
Well, we've made some short, we haven't done a whole bunch. We've done a couple. We did a documentary about the making of the movie Looking for Angelina, just because that history was so incredible. And there's so much more to tell there, really. And then we've also made a documentary about the Canadian film industry, which is not available anywhere, as far as I know. But That was documentary quite a while back. It was one of our first films. And then a number of shorts, including an animated short, and and then my partner Sergio has also worked on the animated. He was an executive producer on the animated film Arctic Dogs, which is on Netflix and probably everyone's kid has seen by now. But
yep,
yeah,
that's fantastic. I'm really enjoying this because I love the journey that you have gone through to get into it, but then the journey so far and all the stuff that you're doing now. Like, I find it quite fascinating, and I'm like, oh my goodness, look what she's doing. I would love to be able to do that. And you've got so many projects. I know that we can't talk about the things that are going to be coming up here in the future, but you've got so much still going on. And can I ask you this? The projects you're going to be having in the future here, are they going to be a lot of Canadian stuff, a lot of Canadian history, or a lot of based in Canada or anything like that?
Yeah, a couple of them are. Not all of them, but I'm working on about a Canadian historical story that is really exciting, and I wish I could say more about it. But if we do this again sometime, I'll tell you all about it once we make our big announcement. Yeah,
I cannot wait. Anything to do with, as I said, like Canadian history, Canadian stories. I think that's so inspiring, and you being the filmmaker from Canada, it's even better, because then you have an understanding of the unique culture and the unique way that Canadians are. It's different than I think that a lot of people perceive us to be.
I agree. I agree very much and I feel also that we struggle a little bit with our sense of identity in this country. At least I've had that feeling growing up here, and I know a lot of people I know share that feeling, and I don't know that most people can feel that they can put their finger on what that is. Proudly Canadian. I'm very, I think this is in many ways the greatest country in the world. And I do love that it's always been a country that's very, not always, sorry, not always, but it is a country that's very inclusive and, diverse and welcoming and all that. Hasn't always been that way, that's true. But we do pride ourselves in that. But there's something more, like it's almost like we need to just mine that more. Like it's not, I feel like the histories that we're told are just barely scratching the surface. So I get really excited when I get my hands onto a story that most people don't know about, or maybe it's a woman's story, and women's stories don't usually get told, and it gives you it kind of shifts your perspective a little bit on what our past is really all about. And that gets us a little bit closer to understanding ourselves, I think.
And I love exactly what you're saying. And I mentioned in the beginning, before we had talked, I had said that I'm born in Ontario, and I ended up in the West, and I've lived most of my life out there. And finding that identity that you were talking about, it's very diverse throughout our country, and so many different perspectives on so many different things. And I love when people can come out and talk about that. And being a mother of 4 daughters, anything that we can do to inspire them and to have strong characters that you're mentioning are women. And I think it's absolutely brilliant. And I think that will really inspire so many others out there.
Yeah, I hope so. I think the younger generation, there's a lot of room to explore things and learn things in a different way. And there's so many different avenues for exploration and learning things, and there's a whole world out there and on the internet where people can learn all kinds of things, so yeah.
Isn't that the truth? So Alexandra, if somebody's out there right now, and what kind of tips and tools, things that can you share with them?
For writing, getting into writing, you think, or screenwriting?
Anything. Yeah, getting into writing, following their dreams, following their passion.
I would say definitely, being true to yourself is a really big thing. And I think that's the most important thing anybody can be. So if somebody really feels that they're connected to this sort of profession where they want to get into writing or get into screenwriting, I mean, I think the best advice I could give anyone is just jump in with both feet and learn as much as you can. There are lots and lots of great writers' workshops, and there are screenplays online or TV series scripts that are available online and that people can download all day long and read them and learn from them. Books that you can read, just sort of like completely immerse. My advice would be to completely immerse yourself in the craft of what it is, because it takes a really long time to even start to get good at it, and it's a very challenging kind of discipline, writing discipline, and it's also an industry that's not very generous to people. So it can, there are critics out there, and there are all kinds of things ready to, show you what you did wrong. But it's really important to just be as comfortable in your own skin and know the stories you want to tell, and just keep practicing and doing the work, and believe in yourself.
I really love that.
And find a mentor if you can. And if you can't find a personal mentor, then, there are people online, who give talks, and who, there are lots of resources out there to help people. So, yeah.
That is wonderful. And have a little bit of a tough skin, I think it sounds like, too.
Yeah, which is challenging for a creative person, I'll tell you. But
I bet.
You gotta, yeah.
Do that. Oh, my goodness. Alexandra, I don't know if you understand how grateful I am to have you on today's program. I really enjoy talking to you. I am so beyond excited to watch your films. I just had goosebumps when you were talking about them, and I can't wait to share them, even with my daughters, because this is something that we like to do, is we like to do films together, watch films together, and I think these are going to really inspire them. So thank you so much, and I really would love for you to come back on the program. I know you have a lot of projects that you were talking about. I would love for you, once they've been announced, to come back on the program and we could talk more about them.
I'd love to. Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this.
It was my pleasure. It's all about collaborations and working together and talking and sharing. And I think that's what you guys are all about, too, is that you love to share stories and really inspire others. As with the Divas That Care, that's what we're about, too. So it was a perfect show today, and I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, Candace. Thanks so much. It was an honor to be here.
Awesome. And to all of our listeners, I just want you to know I will be posting a whole bunch of links. You might be overwhelmed with all the links I've been looking up and finding. And I want you guys to go and check them out, because I think you're going to be so excited. Alexandra has got so many amazing things. And I really would love for you guys to go and check her out and to really be inspired by her like I am. I hope that you're able to follow her. And Alexandra, I should probably ask you, can our listeners follow you on social media at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I have I don't post very much lately, I'm afraid to say, but I do have, S.N.A.P Films does have oh my God, what's the word? Instagram. I forgot what it was called. That's how much I post. I don't even remember what it's called. We're going to get better. I'm going to get better at this. So I have an Instagram. I'm Sasha Screenwriter on Instagram. And just myself on Facebook and Twitter. I think Twitter is Ale Writer is the handle, ALE Writer. And then, of course, our company, S.N.A.P Films, Inc., it has a presence online. Our website is snapfilmsinc.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And as I said, I will be posting all of this so that all of you guys can just click right on the link. Again, Alexandra, thank you so much for being my amazing guest. And I want to say a big shout out to all of our listeners. Thank you so much for tuning into the Divas That Care and, following us and being supportive of not just the Divas That Care, but for all of our guests, all of our hosts. We're so appreciative of each and every one of you. Make sure that you do something kind. The world needs a lot more kindness out there. And I know that you guys do so much. So we appreciate that. So just keep up. All right, everyone, take care and have a fantastic day.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.